Well, actually, it's not even the afternoon, is it? Good evening, my beautiful Insta bells. It's Kirsty here. We're back with our 17th episode of Real Relevant right now. And it's going to be amazing. We've got an absolute wonder guest on the show called Lee Bridges. So, yeah, I'm just going to wait for a few of you guys to join. And then I'm going to get Lee on. But I hope that you've all been okay and you've had an absolutely wonderful Sunday. Today I felt like my energy has been lacking. And I've been feeling really meh, especially because of the weather. So I literally had to do like an old school throwback. And I've just been banging out all the house tunes, all the garage tunes, doing my thing. Oi, oi, energy. And it's really like lifted me. Hey Ems, hey Lee, I can see that you're there. I'm going to let y'all in. I'm just going to let a few more people join. Hey Roy, hey Sarah. But yeah, so my point in me telling you this little story is the fact that music is so powerful. Like it really freaking lifts your spirits and your energy. So I now feel like I could go to a festival, but hey, we've got no festivals, have we? So I'm just going to have to stay here in my little room. Hey Kayshan, oh lovely to see you guys. How is everybody this Sunday? Hey. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. So as I was saying, guys, we're back, Real Relevant right now. This is the 17th episode. Where are these days and weeks going? It's crazy. Like Rona is literally outstaying her stay. 17 weeks. But yeah, so this episode's called Do Shit, Get Shit Done. And I know we've all been in these places where it's like you want to get shit done and you're just not doing it. So Lee, our beautiful, amazing goddess, he's not a goddess at all, Sosley. Our beautiful, amazing being that is going to be joining us and he's going to be helping us sort our lives out. And we're going to be talking all about his new book, The Transition, Do Shit, Get Shit Done. So let's get live on the show. Hopefully she'll be with us real soon. Oh,
what's up, girl?
How are you?
I'm always good, mate. How are you?
I'm loving it. I love that you say you're always good. I wish I was always good, but your energy is just fire.
Oh, mate, I appreciate that. How's your day been? How's your Sunday?
It's been all right. As I was saying, I feel like I felt really sluggish and low today. And I think it had a lot to do with the weather. And I was like, how the hell am I going to get myself out of this mood? And I just literally whacked up the volume, started playing some old school garage bangers.
What garage,
and now I'm
garage
like,
were you listening
to?
Hey? What garage were you listening to?
Literally old school garage classics. So like, she went to the bar for a Zambuca. She gave me your number.
I'm down.
Rewind.
When the crowd say, "Whoa!"
Selector.
I can't.
Yeah,
I can't sing. Or
hey?
I can't sing or spit bars. Just FYI.
Can't you? See, I think in my past life I was an MC because I think I can spit bars, but I don't think that I can. But I try.
I don't know. You never know, mate. No, actually, let's not do this now.
No.
What your energy found, mate? Thank you for having me on the show. What a pleasure.
I know. Thank you so much for coming on. Literally, Lee. Like I said, I saw the book. I read the book. I was like, oh my God, your energy's fire. You need to come on the show. I hollered at you and you're here. Like, this is what I love when I can meet beings like this that are just like, yeah, let's jump on that energy wave and make shit happen. So super, super excited. Lee, before we start, I always start usually a little warm up. We're going to do a little fire. So I'm just going to fire 5 questions at you. And I want your answer. It is.
Okay, interesting, mate.
Are you ready?
Let me just load this slightly first.
Okay.
So I go to sleep ridiculously early nowadays, right? This is
really?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah. I never used to. I was a traveling musician for years, but so Sunday evenings, my game is like about there. So let's no. But let's see how this 5 goes. Don't ask me anything too intricate. I can't do it.
Are we ready?
Why do dogs have wet noses?
Not even. They're going to be really quick. You just have to choose one or the other. You've got like 1 second to answer each. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fish and chips, pie or mash?
Oh, pie and mash.
Oh, thank you. Failure or success?
Success.
Yes. Green or yellow?
Yellow.
I love that.
But
like
purple,
or love?
Purple, really. What'd you say?
Yeah, straight. Like or love?
Life.
Okay. Spice Girls or Sugar Babes?
Spice Girls, come on, girl.
Thank you. Okay, I just needed to make sure we're on the same level here. So okay, cool. We can continue.
I said. Well, yeah. I think all of them were truthful. I think I'm not going to get put on the spot.
No, I'm joking. I may put you on the spot today, Lee. So we're just going to roll with it. But okay, Lisa, we're here to talk about you, your story. Obviously, the book, The Transition, Do Shit, Get Shit Done. Before we get into that, the main thing I want to know, what inspired you to write this book? Because there's so much. Like I said, I'm on chapter 4. I'm loving the book. I'm reading a bit about your story. And, you know, but for everybody else that maybe hasn't heard of the book, heard of you, tell us why you started to write the book.
So, mate, seriously, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an absolute pleasure, and I love it. And fair play. You're doing a really, really good thing here, mate.
Thank you so much. Big love. I really appreciate that.
No, I can't do the owl sound. I can sometimes do the owl sound. Yeah, no, I really, really appreciate that. You're an absolute legend, mate. So, yeah,
love you.
Bless you, and bless you guys for checking in. Honestly, I wrote it by mistake, mate. I had a. So here's the short version of this: is okay. I was teaching at college for years. And I was also a musician at the same time, because you can't be a traveling musician without having like a job, because your rent never gets paid and stuff like that.
100%.
But this is it, right? So, and I was a drummer, so not even really a musician, just kind of like, you know. And yeah, no, I was really struggling myself. I had a bunch of demons and a bunch of problems going on, and on top of that, just, you know, like I believe that there's 2 types of luck. So I think that there's the luck that you get when you're kind of like, oh my God, there's like a £50 note on the floor, and then you pick it up, but someone's just you're a dickhead on it, and you're like, oh, yeah, kind of that, like, or it's
stuck to the floor.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that luck that's kind of like genuinely luck. And then there's the other side of luck where you make your own luck. I think there's both. I think a lot of people think there's one or the other, but for me, I think genuine luck does exist, but I also think that you can make your own luck. Slightly different things, different topics. But I was screwing my own luck up like really hard for quite a while. But on top of that, I had a year where I was also very unlucky as well. So I had a bunch of stuff that just happened. From like, mate, check this out, seriously. So I got in the same 6-month space of time. I won Teacher of the Year award and then lost my job the week after. This is true. This is so true, mate.
No.
They stack up. So that happened, and then I ended up, I was doing like a charity event for some of my students, and I got assaulted. I got assaulted by some like coked up nutter. It was horrible. This was all within 6 months. And then what else happened? I always forget. There were 6 things I forget. I got arrested for something I didn't do. This is so true. I promise you, this is true. This is no BS. I got sued for something I didn't do. See, all you guys are like, man, this guy sounds like an absolute nut.
Lee.
Not true. And then that culminated. I'll send you the picture afterwards. But that culminated in a drunk driver pulled out in front of me when I've got a stepson. His dad lives up in Norfolk, and I'm down in Brighton. So I take him back to his dad every other weekend.
Right.
I'd done this like long, like super rank journey. So it's normally about 7-hour round trip to get my kid back up to his dad's, and then someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. No, do you know what I mean? No. Well, I don't believe blood's thicker than water. That's a separate conversation. But I
100%.
A dad's a dad, a mum's a mum, and I think.
Amen to that.
Thank you very much. So yeah, and on this particular occasion, it was just before Christmas. So it was like the 23rd of December. And I was taking him back. So, like I say, normally it's like a 7-hour round trip, but on this one occasion, it was like rank weather, like everything was terrible. And I drove up, and it took about 8 hours to get there. But I was picking him up this time. I wasn't dropping him off. He'd been at his dad's. And I picked him up after this 7-8 hour journey, started turning around, coming back the other way. And it was just going straight. It was doing about 60, and this guy just pulled out in front of me, and I just like absolutely like plowed through. I'll send you the picture. It's mind blowing.
Oh my gosh, Lee!
Oh, mate, it was so bad. And my kid was in the back at the time. Unfortunately enough, he was on the tablet because long journey. So sessions, a few games and stuff like that. We have a sing along. We do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at the time, he just started playing a game, so he was all like loosey goosey in the back. So when we hit, it wasn't so bad for him, but
and you were both okay?
No, not physically. Really. No, it was pretty. Well, no, can you not see it? Reconstruction. I used to look like Winston Churchill, and then they did this, and but no, it smashed up my spleen and like ribs and stuff, and I was all battered and bruised. Cal was super battered and bruised, but fortunately nothing broken and nothing like that. And
thank the Lord.
Well, mate, exactly that. And it was so, mate, you couldn't have wrote it. It was so bad. This was like at the end of this sort of 6-month expanse of time. So, to extremely long-windedly answer your question, Kirsty,
No, I love it.
I wrote the book by mistake because all of this stuff had happened, and at the same time, I had a bad drug problem as well.
Yeah.
FYI, don't get a bad drug problem. It's not worth it. None of it's worth it. If you learn
100%.
anything from this, do not get a bad drug problem.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was holding it all together for everybody else. And, you know, I was still teaching at the college. I never missed a day. You know, I always turned up and showed up and did my thing. But sort of in the background, I was struggling really, really hard. And I was dishing out advice for other people. It seemed to be working for other people as well. And I was just like plummeting myself into hell. And at the end of this thing, when we had that, and I mean, when the cops turned up, so I'm waffling a bit, so you have to tell me.
No, go for it.
But when the cops turned up and the ambulances and stuff like that, like it was so bad that they didn't come running over straight away. And then one of them sort of walked around and I was like, the hell's going on? So, and bear in mind, right, this, you couldn't write it. It's like sleeting and raining. It's pitch black.
Oh, Lee.
It's only about like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's pitch black because it's December and we live in like, you know, Coldsville in England. And I went, you know, I had to pull Callum out the back and like was like, what do you know, it's hilarious. Definitely at the time did not look like John McClane, but I could have maybe. I don't think it looked as good as it did in my head. In my head, it was like, you know, maybe fairly.
That pinnacle moment in a movie.
This is it, right? This is it.
Literally.
So yeah, and that was kind of I always call it my enough was enough day. Just rock bottom, kind of. I'm done. I'm absolutely done.
Yeah.
Can't do this anymore. And I just thought to myself, it's one of those. So what I was doing in the background when I was going through the drug addiction, this was years ago, I'd make little notes for myself, and I was getting really, really sick and tired of people telling me that if I did X, then Y would happen. And I'd listen to these guys, and they'd say one thing, and I'd listen to these people, and they'd say another thing. And then I'd be getting advice from someone. I don't know if you've ever been, hopefully not, been to like an AA or a CA meeting or anything like that.
No, I haven't. I was actually going to say to you, did you take yourself to AA or like a Drugs Anonymous or something like that group to help you with your addictions?
Yeah, so I tried. I hate it when people say I tried everything, because I obviously didn't try everything because I didn't find the solution at that point. But yes, I went to a bunch of different types of meetings, and the problem that I struggle with massively is I don't understand when stuff doesn't get done. Because for me, the only way, if I want to lose weight, there's an action I have to take. There's something I have to do. And if I sit there chewing on cakes all day and then I'm like, oh man, I don't know why, like nothing's happening. It's like I'm doing the counter. Do you know what I mean? So see, this is what happens on a Sunday, Kirsty. I'm
keep going. I'm loving it
badly, mate.
No.
But yes, I know. So I got to the point where I was just like, I need to take action. And I was fed up. I was going to these CA meetings, Cocaine Anonymous, same as Alcohol Anonymous.
Yeah.
Everyone's pretty wired, which is quite funny. And the also funny thing about it is that you would not believe, like seriously, you would not believe. The first one I went to, I was like, oh my God, that's the guy from my local like co-op. Is that the guy that's on the police? Like, what the hell? That guy, mate, everyone.
Did that feel like to you? Because obviously being in the situation you were in, you must have felt shit at a lot of the time. Also, you must have felt quite judged. Did it almost humanize the whole thing for you? You know, like seeing people that you recognize in the essence that this is not just me.
Yeah, I mean, really good question. So without going down a massive rabbit hole, one of the other things I really struggle with is the education system. And one of the reasons that I just, a lot of really great things are taught at school. I'm not bashing schools. That's not
I agree
at all. There's also a hell of a lot of detriment that comes out of them, in my opinion. And it could be done a lot better, is what I think.
I agree.
So when it did make it real, and then it did make it kind of like, but then I also walked away from that thinking, why wasn't I told about this? Why wasn't I told that this was a thing? You know, why didn't I get taught that stretching is important and that nutrition is important and that starting your own business is quite important, you know?
I so can agree with you. It's like, why was I taught algebra and not taught how to get my own mortgage?
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Don't get things like that. I don't quite understand. So I can totally relate with what you're saying right now.
girl, I can tell you pretty much everything about plate tectonics. I'm not a geologist. Do you know what I mean? Or geographer.
Yeah.
Well, whoever
100%.
deals, that person that deals with plate tectonics, I ain't that guy. But I know about it because I got taught about it. But like you said, I didn't know how to balance my books. I didn't know how to or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So see, this I tangent as well. Just FYI.
It's okay. I'll bring you back.
Mate, sure. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where I was going to these meetings, and the thing that kept coming up was, you know, let's talk about what could have got you here, and let's talk about, you know, let's go back to this thing that may have happened back in the day, or like blah blah blah. And
yeah,
and it's not for everyone, but for me, I was like, just tell me what to do. I don't want to think about. I don't want to think anymore. I want to take action. I want to do something. I want to get something done.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of like what I shouldn't need to go to more than one. Someone told me once, right? And this is I didn't stop smoking because of this. I stopped smoking for something else. But when I was a smoker, someone said something to me after I'd quit smoking. I smoked for years. It's also a terrible thing that I really, really highly recommend you don't get into. Fortunately enough, as well, it seems like people don't smoke that much anymore. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. And I think it's all because we're a little bit more vain, if I'm honest with you. Like the smell of smoke or having a cigarette in your Instagram picture, it's not really attractive. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds so stupid.
No,
but
I agree.
Honestly feel like it's things like that that have made people say no. Obviously, as well, there's laws. You can't smoke in clubs, la, la, la. But yeah, it was something I was actually thinking about the other day. It's like you don't see, you know, back in the 60s, 70s, you get these gorgeous women and men like with their cigarettes, but it's just not really part of our kind of generation anymore, is it? As much.
No. Everyone's vaping, which I think is really cool.
Yes.
Like
my
kids like, I would never smoke. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, one of the things someone said to me once after I'd stopped smoking, but I wish they'd said it before, and it really it was one of those little moments where I was like, whoa, mate, that's huge. That is like such a huge bit of advice that, you know, just. But he said, look, the thing is, if you're a smoker, whenever you don't have a cigarette lit in your hand, you're not a smoker. Think about that. I think that's huge. As in, like, do you know what I mean?
You might have like 10 cigarettes a day, but the rest of the day you're not smoking. Is that what you mean?
No. More, I mean that, like, for instance, so if as soon as I put that last cigarette down, I'm not a smoker anymore. It's only if I have another cigarette that now I'm a smoker again. So so the ease of just stopping it and going, it's done. I'm done. I'm not smoking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's
yeah.
like
100%.
You know,
yeah.
As soon as, you know, even if, like, because I was really overweight for years as well, like super overweight. And if I'd have had that bit of advice, I'd have thought to myself, hang on a sec, if I might be overweight now, but I'm not eating like I'm overweight anymore. I'm not. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Sunday talk, mate. If you get me on a Monday morning at like 5 a.m, would be kosher.
No, I do understand completely what you're saying, because I think as human beings, sometimes we can really overcomplicate things. Do you know what I mean? Where it is as easy as that. It can be that simple, but then we put all of this other blubbery stuff around it, and then it becomes extremely complicated. Where it actually
your rainbow at me? Is that what happened?
Say that again.
Did you just click your rainbow at me? Really nonchalant.
I definitely did.
That was decent.
Literally. So all of these things that we're talking about, Lee, was this actually what I wanted to ask you? You said that you started writing this journal and writing your bits and bobs down, which is what I am guessing led on to you writing this book. Was that something of your own accord, or was this from you going to meetings and them telling you this is something that's really going to help you kind of overcome your addictions?
So Kirsty, I still haven't answered the first question you asked me. I've just realised that.
It's okay.
Apologies. Right. So
I'm loving it.
I was writing down loads of little notes and bits and pieces. I just had this little scrapbooky journal thing. And whenever I had like if you, I don't know, sat on the bus and you have a wicked idea for a song lyric or a little lick or something like that, I was like, or, you know, you've got some idea for something, pops into your head. But my head is pretty like, I'm macro goal, big idea driven kind of person. So I'm terrible with details. So if I ever have a detailed thought or something, I'll note it down because I'll forget it otherwise. And this journal was going from like little scrapbook pages turned into like a ton. So it just had these like
really.
So I was talking to a couple of friends, and one of them started rinsing me and saying like, "Oh mate, you're writing a book now," and I was like, "What?" Nah. And then it turns out I basically wrote it and then didn't realise I'd wrote it and then put it in order and was like, "Oh, there's a book there," and then just sort of padded out the bit so it made sense and it wasn't just my like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure.
I absolutely love that. Like, so you basically wrote this book by accident.
Yeah, but not in a.
effectively.
I really mean this, like as honestly and sincerely as I can say it. That's not a like, oh, it was easy, you know, like I just did it, bro. Like, no worries. It
No,
wasn't
of
that.
course.
It was just very organic, and I just think, and I also like, I massively believe. I know it's an old saying, but it's that kind of like, you are what you eat, and you are who you hang around with. And
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this to you on the phone the other day. There's a few things I am absolutely, you know, down the line with. I will not move, and hanging out with negative people is one of them. I just won't do it. And I'm very, very fortunate that I've, over the years, even when I was going through, you know, fair problems myself, I still made a point of, I'm not hanging out with that person. My time's too precious. My time's too pure.
Yeah.
I'll choose to spend my time with this person. Because of that, I think, you know, this isn't a book that I just did and everything's mine. It's like, you know, you could almost argue that there's a team of people where we've all sort of, you know, they've got me through this bit that I had no idea about and how to do, and blah, blah, blah. And all of us have been running towards the same goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I love that completely. And I think that's like with anything really. You can't get to the top on your own, whatever you're trying to achieve, I feel, in life. Like, there's so much that you can do yourself, but it's kind of like with me being a singer, when it comes to songwriting, you know, most of the #1 hits out there, there's been a whole team of people behind it. And then you've just had the singer that comes out on stage doing their thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that, which I love. It's part of the process. And, you know, I think that's really beautiful that you acknowledge that, because certain people may not. Do you know?
Mate, 100%. One of my favourite like things I always when I used to teach, I'd mention this all the time, but it's like the idea of the difference between, you know, I'd always so two questions I would always ask a class, which I always found the answers were really enlightening and not what you'd expect. So question one was, I'd always ask my class, they're all between the ages of 16 up to 21, depending on what the lesson was, but I'd always ask them the same thing. And a lot of these were songwriting classes or music business or stuff like that. And one of the questions would be, okay, I'm going to say a word, you shout out things that you think of. So the word I would use, I'd normally use a place. To say, for instance, if I say like Pakistan, honestly, every time you get desert, like poor, like just this utter load of crap that's nothing like it. And then I put a picture of a part of Pakistan up, for instance, on the whiteboard that looks, for all intents and purposes, like Switzerland, and it's really green. And I'd say, okay, where's that? And they'd go, like Switzerland or like Austria. They'd be like, no, that's Pakistan. And they're like, what, mate? Like, you know what I mean?
Mind's blown.
Exactly that. It's, you know, it's nothing big, but the point I'm making is that it's very, very easy to be wrapped up in this thing and, you know, be told which hoops to jump through, and like, you must do this, and this is normal, you know, WTF, and like, this is, you know, if you don't do this, then, you know, you're going to feel anxious or stressed or tired or whatever. And actually, I think just being able to take a step back sometimes, go, hold on a sec, who's pulling me through this? Why is my hand being pulled that way when I don't agree with this thing? This is But for me, like, you know, all of the isms, I hate them. Like, get rid of them. Sexism, racism, like anything, whatever it is, it's ridiculous. That's not how I feel or how I think. Yeah, I'm bombarded with it all the time. And so without going off on a massive spin, I just think it's so important to just be like, right, cool, what's the right thing to do? What's goodly do and what's badly do? And how can I be at this end of that spectrum, like, all the time? And if I'm not, and if I falter and I end up going this way, I need to be mindful enough to go, well, Hannah said that's happening, not I'm on autopilot, it's happened, and now I need to clear up the mess. Do you know what I mean?
100%, definitely. I think that it kind of relates back to what you were saying before when you were talking about luck. I suppose the way that I live my life is karmically. So I know that, you know, as long as I'm doing good and putting good and staying true to myself, that I know, you know, sometimes I might do something that may not be perceived or received well by somebody else. But as long as I'm coming from my heart, I kind of know that that's going to come back to me in some sort of a good way, rather than me getting all this bad crap thrown back at me, because it's pure and it's what I believe in. So I totally feel you on that, because I feel like that is how I do live my life. And I feel like, as well, relating to what you were saying, it's about checking in with yourself, you know, so you are really aware of who you are, what your morals are, what you stand for, because then you can shut out all of that other noise. You know, like massive thing for me. As you know, I'm a singer, and you know, it's Kirsty, if you've not made it by 18, then you might as well. No, this
Have
is
you
my
tried
journey.
being on X Factor, Kirsty?
Do you know what I mean? Everyone giving their chip in, and I feel to say to them, what the hell are you doing to make your life happy? Because to me, you're not doing anything. So you're just criticizing what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm over here living my life. I'm happy. I don't want to be a big Beyonce, but I just love to sing, and that's what I do. So, you know, let me live. But I think it's really important.
It is. Everyone's got an opinion as well. I love that. One of my favourites. Like, you must get this as a singer all the time from non-singers that have never done a gig or never done a rehearsal, never smashed a melisma. Do you know what I mean? And they'll be like, "Oh, have you tried this? Why don't you think?" And you're like, "Oh my god!" Like literally, you get your house in order, literally sort your house out, and then you can come around mine and start chucking.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. No, definitely, literally. But sorry, go ahead, Lee.
No, I'll waffle otherwise. You go, please.
Okay. No, I was going to say, so obviously, Lee, in the book, you've spoken openly about your addictions with drugs, with sex. You know, I want to ask you, when was that pinnacle moment in your life where you actually looked in the mirror and you kind of had to accept the situation you were in and say to yourself, you know what, I need to take accountability for me. This is nobody else's fault, and I don't want to live like this anymore. Like, what made you, or where were you at when you kind of made the decision, like, today is going to be the first day of the rest of my life?
Do you know what? I'm not. The answer to that isn't as black and white as I want it to be. The answer, one side of it was I was so close to having a heart attack, and I mean but seriously close. And then I had this weird like mini stroke thing happen where my face was like not that bad. It was kind of like about there. And I was like, God, the hell, we're literally.
Bloody hell.
That was like tick box.
And this was from you taking drugs?
Yes, yeah, 100%.
And what was your poison?
Unfortunately, cocaine. So can I just talk about that real quick? So my thing with cocaine is that I absolutely, this was beforehand, during, and now after. I hate the trade. I hate the drug. I have no respect for that trade whatsoever. I think it's absolutely terrible. And the excuse side of things that I'll give is that I was just going through it at the time, had a really bad time. I'd been the last one at parties to end up doing anything like that at all. And then, you know, I dabbled a bit and smoked a bit of weed when I was a kid and stuff like that. But something like that, I was that classic case, mate, where I literally had a really, really bad time. A few things stacked up. I was at a party feeling crappy. Someone said, "Oh, you should do this," and I did it. And then fast forward a couple of years, and I was like daily user, like, you know, just going through it.
Really,
mate, it's disgusting. Yeah, it's such a bad drug. Yeah, it's horrible. And what's even worse is you, as soon as you tell people you've got a coke addiction, don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing any of them. They're all bad for different reasons, and they all need help. They all need help and education as well. A lot of it just tarnishing people as like, you know, all junkies will steal your stuff away. I find that entirely
100%.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so there was like situations like that where you know, there was a big sort of tick box just saying like, this is it. And that one in particular where I think I was having a mini heart attack. I don't know, but I was like trying to ring the ambulance, couldn't do it, blah, blah, blah. And it was just horrible. But then the other side of it, why I said it wasn't as black and white as that, is that it was kind of like a slow process. I didn't really have that epiphany. I had a this is enough, I'm not doing this anymore. But I didn't, the work to get there was very, very slow and very consistent. And something I always try and teach is the idea of not going massively into one thing straight away. And I always use fitness, just because it's universal and everyone understands it. If we were to talk about, like, we could use like vocal techniques or whatever, but it might mix some people out. But with fitness, of course, like I hate the word diet. I really don't like the word diet, because to me it just insinuates it's going to be something I start and something I finish. And for me, I'm much rather a lifestyle change. I just want to, you know, if I've learned something and I'm better now, do you know what I mean? Like, now I've learned never do cocaine, right? So that doesn't mean, like, I don't say to myself like, oh, do you know what, if I'm really, really good, I'll just, you know, I'll once a year on my birthday or whatever. For me, it's like, I've learned that lesson now. It's so foolish for me to go backwards, because that's I'm going to be deprogramming, you know, the good work I've done. So it's much better for me to go, right, I'm going to move forward with this. I've learned that lesson now. So using fitness as like a example, if for me, if I want to change the shape of my body or lose weight or gain weight or whatever it is I want to do, instead of going like, right, I think the worst thing you can do is, because this happens every time I'm in a gym in New Year, it's just, they're inundated with people because everyone goes, oh my God, I've just stacked up
January.
right, exactly that. And I'm, you know, I'm going to go down the gym, and they put so much pressure on themselves, and they give themselves that like, right, it's everything now. I've spent all my spare money on my new running shoes and this like water bottle and my gym membership, and then tomorrow I'm going to do like, you know, I'm going to be on the treadmill for an hour, and then I'm going to do like a HIIT session afterwards, and they will keep that up for like a day, maybe two, maybe three, maybe a couple.
Yeah.
And then the body goes, what? Nah, like I ain't doing that. And then they quit, and then they're in a worse position than in the first place, because they've spent money, time, and effort on not doing anything. And then you go home, oh, come on, man! Like you do like 100 push-ups. Yes, you can do it, but you need to build up to it. But just going
100%. I agree.
So for me, the way I always explain this, and it's a little bit hippy dippy, but I always think it's a bit like a snowflake, and it's like a snowflake that lands on your hand, it just goes, and it can just melt, and that's it. But that snowflake can turn into a snowball if you get a bunch more snowflakes, tiny little snowflakes.
Very true.
Enough of those snowballs, you've got an avalanche. Avalanches are well heavy, mate. They are like so full of power, and there's so much you can do with them. And as soon as you can like learn to control that, you know, it takes a year or two. People want a quick fix. There's no quick fix. If someone's trying to sell you something, if you're flicking through Facebook or Insta and you see one of these bro marketing things that's like, you know, get washboard abs in 6 weeks. Bullshit. Like seriously.
Not gonna happen.
That's offensive to people that have spent years and years and years perfecting a craft. Yeah. Be a professional singer in 6 months. What are you talking about?
Not gonna happen.
It can't happen. But the worst thing about that is when you give someone an easy way out, when you give them that, here's the gold ticket. Firstly, if that is the gold ticket, everyone would be doing it. Make 6 figures a month from selling this. But what are you talking about? If that works, everyone would be doing it. Thing number one. Thing number two is that by telling people this and it being everywhere and it being, you know, constantly around you, and you're like, oh, well, do you know what? I can do this thing in like a day or 2 days. No, you can't. And then it's hard because you put in so much effort and you genuinely believe it. And really, like I say this at the start of the book, I'm not special. There's nothing. I'm not some guru. I'm not any other thing like that, because I don't believe in them. I believe that all of us have the potential to be absolutely amazing and happy and genuine and loving and all that cool stuff. And I also believe that we've got the potential to be terrible human beings. And 100%. I think that without being, you know, in the room and like actually, like Hannah said, what's right, what's wrong here? Not what did BBC One News just say? Because, you know, not what did so and so that knows nothing about this just tell me on Facebook. What? Come on, like, do you know what I mean?
No, 100%. And I think it's also down to you as the individual. And I think that in this day and age, especially with technology and things like that, I do feel like it is almost like, and I don't just want to put it on the younger generation, but it's like, you know, I've always been brought up with that ethos of hard work and determination is going to get you where you need to get to. So it is going to be probably a long, hard slog. But when you get there, the rewards are going to be so beneficial and they're going to be long lasting. Whereas I feel like in 2020, people want stuff now. And it's stuff that it's like, if you actually sat down, actually analyze, like what you said, you know, get abs within a week, it's not going to happen. And it's kind of like retraining people's brains to what is real and what isn't, I suppose. So I love that you are so honest in saying that, you know, that was your process. And I'm guessing for every individual, it would be different. Maybe some people would have a pinnacle moment, but with you, that is the way that you dealt with it. And this is why we're at where we're at right now, which that's the most important thing. We're at where we're at right now. Do you know 100%. What I mean? And 100%. And you're out here doing what you're doing, spreading your love, spreading your positivity. But furthermore, you're helping other people. Like, how does that make you feel?
I honestly, because the whole thing, right? So we had, I keep getting, publishers have been getting in contact recently. And also a lot of SEO type marketers, like Facebook marketers, stuff like that, have been getting in contact, being like, "Oh, we've seen that you've got this book up, and blah blah blah. You know, who have you got working on it?" Now, the reason I bring this up is because we done everything backwards. Now, you'll know this as a singer. If you put an album out, you don't just record the album, and then just put it up there. You have a run up, you know, you have a marketing team, you have people that push it out there, so there's a buzz, so that when it finally does go live, there's already t-shirts for sale in the merch shop, there's already a tour date sorted, there's blah blah blah. Now first things first, there is like, that's hard to, you can't do that on your own. This is like a slightly different point to make, but this is like one of the reasons that people don't, in my opinion, get anywhere, because that's what I struggled with for years and years and years, is trying to do everything. You can't do everything, you know.
No.
Bring up Beyonce, like Beyonce definitely doesn't do her own tax returns. She doesn't,
100%.
do you know what I mean? She doesn't schedule her tours. She doesn't sort out the rider, like, do you know what I mean? So
definitely.
So I can't even remember what you asked me because it's Sunday, but I'm talking about Beyonce, and that works for me, you know?
I love you, Lee. But can I just say that exactly what you just said so happened to me. So it was kind of a bit of a twist. When I first released my first ever EP, it was because I lost my grandma, and it was the first time I kind of lost anybody like that was that close to me, and it was more of a, I suppose, therapeutic outlet. Thank you. No, it's okay. She was just my queen. She was everything. And I think that I don't know what else I would have done if I had not put my energy into that EP. But because I'd never done anything like that before, I did exactly that. And I basically did it, messed it all up. I mean, the EP's out there, it's wonderful and people do listen to it, but I didn't understand the process behind it. So I had to do that to mess up and now learn everything. You know, for me to not repeat that mistake again, which I think is something that I really want to highlight, is so beneficial, and something that I feel like we don't maybe talk about enough. Like, I feel like we always talk about our successes, but we never talk about our failures, but the failures are what get us to the success. And I actually watched an interview with you, and you said something that basically I absolutely loved it, and you were like, I don't think anyone's going to quote me, but if somebody does, I think it would be great. But I actually thought it was a wicked quote. And you said doing something terribly is 100% better than not doing anything at all. And I think that is so true. And when you said it, it almost made me think of like reverting back to the child, the inner Kirsty. When we're kids, that's what we do. We mess up terribly all the time. And then we get told off, or someone will say you shouldn't do it like this. And that is how you learn. And I feel like that is what life is about, for us to grow, for us to transform, for us to change, for us to get stuff done. Be that inner kid, mess stuff 100%. Up terribly, and then make it right. Do you know what I mean?
Can I tell you my my analogy about phones, right? So just because it might help is a nice way to put it. But if I always think about this, like, so I have an Apple phone, and it kills me constantly. It needs updating. There's bugs that are, you know. But I know. The point is, I guarantee you there's some mush somewhere that has made the perfect phone. It's like light years ahead of every other phone. Everything works. It's totally cool. Yeah. But the thing is, while he's making that phone perfect, Apple are selling you a phone. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
I just think, like, I have this, because one of the businesses I run, we employ singers. We put on live entertainment, music agency. And it breaks my heart, because I've been in the same spot before, where the amount of times as a musician you find it hard, and in fact in all the arts, in fact in anything, if you want to ask that person out on a date, or you want to ask your boss for a raise, or you want to, you know, get your EP out, or whatever it is, like, just doing it and screwing it up is like so much better than not doing it. That's the 100%. You will be 100% further than everybody else, just by going, oh, this is me, I'm naked, it's really weird, I'm sorry. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard, and it's hard to do, but it gets easier. It gets so much easier once you have those jump cliff moments. You know, it's good.
Yeah, and I think it's all about getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's something I'm working with, and also identifying and owning that your vulnerability is really your strength. Like you say, it is about just standing there, getting naked, and saying, you know what, I'm going to do it. And then let's just see what happens. And if it works, amazing. If it doesn't, cool. What can we learn from this? Do you know what I mean? And like, that even goes back to me starting this show, Lee. Like, I haven't been singing. I've not been singing for a while. Again, not getting into it loads, but I had like a lot of bad things that went on. I lost like 3 people that I loved dearly within about 3 weeks of one another. And it was just this whole, you know, my soul was just hurt. And I'm an artist that I write from truth. So for me, it was almost like the past was a little bit too painful for me to look back on, you know, at the beginning of lockdown. It's kind of like I just couldn't revisit because I was healing. So I was like, how else can I use my voice if I'm not singing? Because I need to do something, you know, and that's why I started this show. But I don't know why I was so anxious about starting it. And I was like, I've not got thousands of followers and all these things, and this little voice of self-doubt got in my head. And, you know, there were loads of things that we ran into, which I kind of mentioned to you on the phone the other day. Like, you know, I had people whose batteries died and then they'd never done a live and thought they could connect via the computer and all these kind of things that went wrong. But actually, each week, and like I've said, this is the 17th week, 17th show, it's
That's
just
awesome,
got stronger. And it's, thank you so much. But, you know, even for me to look back, I'm like patting myself on the back, like I'm proud, you know, and it's a really, really good feeling. So, yeah, for anybody out there that is just not getting stuff done, do it. And even if it goes wrong, just keep trying, because I think that is the best advice any of us can take.
Mate, I tell you, right, 100%. I've got so much kudos for you. That's literally so awesome. I absolutely love that. And the thing is you can tell by the smile on your face that you're in a beautiful place because you've done something.
Literally.
There's a lot of research on this as well, and all around the world, wherever you go, whatever like type of person from wherever, there's one thing that makes people happy, and that's progress. It's doing so. It's moving. It's getting something done. And that progress is something that I just like. If I have a day where I don't do something, all of you must know what I'm talking about. You have that thing where you're like it just doesn't feel right. You don't feel accomplished. You don't feel like you've made a dent in the world that day. You just have, and it could be something as small, but it could be something as small as just remembering to ring a family member and tell them that you love them or ask them how they are. And it can be something as big as putting your first podcast out, or your 16th or 17th or 100th or 1 million for whatever it is. You know, like this is the other thing as well, is that no one ever talks about people's failures. You mentioned this, and it's such a good point to think about. I think of this all the time. Like, I mean, compare your podcast to Joe Rogan's podcast. He's got a few more followers, right? Yeah. However, Joe Rogan started his podcast, I guarantee you, in exactly the same way, doing exactly the same thing, talking to idiots like me. Do you know what I mean?
Stop! No, amazing people like you.
You know what I mean? I'm joking. But the point is, you started something. You put that snowflake, and you're getting to snowball stage. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to snowball stage, and then hopefully one day I can get to avalanche stage. And that's my life choice. That's not little diets. That's not little fad things. That's not a quick, give me the quick answer here, because there is no quick answer. As far as I know, and I mean, I don't know, but as far as I know, we have one life. And I am honestly, I'm dragging my heels in the sand if you think I'm going to do anything other than try and live it as perfectly as I can. Well, not perfectly, that's a bad word, because I don't think stuff's perfect, but as amazingly as I can, as full of love as I can, as happy as I can. And that's fine. If people aren't on that, the only advice I would want to give to anyone ever, if someone said give me one piece of advice, it would literally be, just crack on, just do it, like get it out there. That thing that you know, that when your teacher as a kid was like, Kirsty, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you went, I want to be the pink Power Ranger, or I want to be like, I don't know, like this flying dragon thing, but it's got like, I don't know, like Eddie Murphy's face, and like it poos out loads of jelly beans or something like that. Whatever that thing was, what stopped you thinking like that? Do you know what I mean? Because that guy that jumped out, did you see that guy? This was years ago now, but the Red Bull guy that jumped out of space. Do you remember that? He went up to space and then done skydive from space. Right? Do you know this guy? He was something Bumgardner. That's why I always remember it, because his second name was Bumgardner. Exactly right. Imagine someone with that name. But Felix Baumgartner, I think his name was. But there's a bunch of people like that. If you just have to go on YouTube for 2 minutes and type in something frigging awesome, and you will find people that didn't listen when everyone else said, "Oh, actually, you probably need to settle down, mate. Get a mortgage." Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you should probably don't do your own business. Like, you know, go and start working for that guy, and like, you know, maybe wait another year before you ask for a raise, or like whatever it is. And there's still those people that went, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm literally not living my life like that. I don't need to do that. I'm not going to listen to you. It's not because I don't."
100%.
I'm going to do it from my heart, and I'm going to do it as much as I can. I'm going to work my ass off, and I'm going to have something to show. And I'm going to go to sleep each night feeling happy with my decisions and my choices. I'm just going to be cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life
definitely.
is a much better place there. I still screw up all the time, mate. I'm telling you, I screw up daily,
Same.
really, really badly, and I still, you know, there's still parts of me that I'm fighting all the time. I'm still an absolute a-hole sometimes, and I hate that.
You're
But
human.
it's fewer and far between, Kirsty. The longer on my journey I'm going, the more I can call myself on my own BS, like, because that's another thing as well, isn't it? It's like when you point the finger, there's always three pointing back at you. You know that thing? So it's like I try to blame less, and I try to think like, what have I done? How can I fix this? You
And
know,
look in that mirror more.
100%, yeah.
Completely. No, and just with what you were saying there, Lee, I feel like, you know, that's a key thing that you were saying in my life that I feel has been my driving force, is how I'm one of those people, don't tell me to do anything because I'll just do the opposite. But it's actually worked in my, obviously sometimes not in my best advantage.
Chocolate cake.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. But yeah, I mean, I've really used it in my advantage in a positive way, because I had the whole, you know, I remember being told you need to choose one thing when I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to do drama, English, dance, music. Like, and I remember looking at these adults thinking, are you mad? You lot are so unhappy. None of you are living out your dreams and you're telling me to choose one thing. Well, what if one thing fails? I want to, you know, I need to have a mix and match and find out what my vibe is, what my purpose is, what my calling is. And then I'm going to keep doing it. I had people say to me, Kirsty, find yourself a rich man. A rich what? I'll make my own money, thank you. And then we'll continue. Because I don't want to end up as bitter as you and your man left you. I'm not saying all men do this, but I'm just saying examples here that for me have just made me continue to stay in my lane. And I think it's so important for everybody else to do that. And just, you know, you know what's right for you. Even when it comes to you being ill sometimes, you know, you can go to the doctors and they're like, no, you're not. And you're like, no, actually, I know me. Do you know what I mean? I know me more than you. You may be medically trained, but I know me more than you. And it's just about having that, I suppose, relationship with yourself, isn't it? And being real kind of tight with you and continuing to look in that mirror. Sorry.
No, mate, never apologise. Honestly, I love that. I couldn't agree more. I absolutely couldn't agree more. It's just, it's just, that's the thing as well, isn't it? It's like, it's so, it's hard to go against the grain. That's it. It feels weird and wrong. But the thing that I always think is that little thing, whatever it is, like a new business venture, or it's like a new like relationship you want to make, or it's just you want to move somewhere, or whatever that change is. Yeah. But I can tell you this. I say this to everyone. For every single time that someone will tell you that's impossible, don't do that, that's a dumb idea, oh, are you sure about that? There's a bunch of people like yourself and myself that will be like, no, let's do this. How are we going to do this? And mate, I will honestly, if someone comes to me with anything, I will always try and solve that problem. Always. There's no little thinking up in here. If you come into my household, my office, anything like that, I told you I'm cutthroat with it. I won't have it. So around here, honestly, if you came into my space, and I would hope it's the same, and you were like, right, I've got this idea. It's a little bit out there, but like I'm thinking about, you know, everyone's going to Mars. I'm thinking about Venus. I would laugh because I would be gassed up for you, and I would be like, right, curse, go. How are we going to get to Venus, mate? Seriously, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I would dab hard. That's what I would be doing. 100%. And whether we got there or not's not the important thing. It's the fact that it's this tiny little weeny thinking that they make you, like, you get accustomed to through the school system and through, you know, like, I love my parents. My parents are freaking amazing. I absolutely love them so much. But sometimes it's not just my parents, it might be the media, it might be my school teacher, it might be whoever. Here's one, right? So just really quickly, because I know you're probably running out of time, but I hate being given opinions or life coaching or anything like that by someone that hasn't done the thing that they're telling me about, right? Do you know what I mean?
I completely, I 100%. I can only give advice on what I know. If you're asking me something, or I cannot. Yeah, I would just switch off. If you've not done it, if you've not lived it, if you've not experienced it, how can you tell me shit? Do you know what I mean?
It's so weird, man. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
You know, I can think of so many school lessons or so many, like, just people that have got an opinion on my life and what I'm doing wrong. Or, you know, like, oh, you sure you should have invested in that? Or blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, like, hey, why don't you come and get a job here? Or why don't you eat at that restaurant? And it's like, okay, cool. What's that restaurant like? Oh, well, I've never been. What? Literally, what are you doing? Come on, man. Like, it's
completely.
It is.
No, I totally agree.
same thing with politics. Like, I'm not going to go on a political one. I'm just my overview. Is like something that happens, right? So I'm one of the few. I'm terrible at loads of stuff, but I'm all right at some stuff. And the stuff I'm all right at, marketing is one of them. I understand. I can, if something flips up on my feed that's trying to sell me something, I can, as long as I'm thinking, I can step back and go, right, I see what they're doing there. I see how they've done that. So I really struggle with this. Every time there's something big, like a change in prime minister or something like that, or a new election or something like that. Why is it that the 2 weeks run up to that, when the media starts talking about it, is when everybody else starts talking about it? What's that about? How come those people don't have an opinion for the other 300 days of the year? How come where's their research coming from? Or did media say jump and they said how high? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not going to go on that one, but mate.
No, but I completely agree with you. Literally, Lee, listen, we are running out of time, but so super quickly. I just want to get back to the book, The Transition, Do Shit, Get Shit Done, which is amazing. As I've said, I've got my own copy, guys. $9.99 on Amazon. It's bloody been I've got my journal, my pen. It literally has been my Bible, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I know when we spoke, Lee, one of the things that I did say to you was that I loved the fact that you write as you speak, because I feel like as I'm reading it, I've got your voice in my head that's almost there kicking my ass if I try to stray or don't do what I'm trying to do for myself, which I think is such an amazing thing, because I have read a lot of self-help books, if you want to call it that, but I feel like this isn't your traditional self-help book. It is quite cutthroat, it's very honest, and I usually switch off. Like I said to you, I can read one book and then I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, I feel like I know what this whole book's about. Whereas with yours, you're really keeping me intrigued, and I'm like, okay, like what can I get out of myself for actually doing this? Was that like a conscious decision to write as you speak? Because I just think you're wicked. Like, you literally just draw me in with your energy.
You're cool, man. You're cool. Honestly, I really want to say again, I really appreciate my phone just went onto mini back. Yeah, I really appreciate that you're spending your precious time on earth with me right now, and that I really mean that. I appreciate that.
No, and that's reciprocated, honestly.
Oh mate, I got your back. To answer your question, I'm not very good with boxes. Like, so your name's Kirsty, right? And I believe that your name is Kirsty because if everybody was called Kirsty and I shouted, you know, and you were about to, like, I don't know, there's an asteroid coming down and I want you to get out the way of the asteroid, and I'm like, Kirsty, and then everyone turns around. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it won't make sense. So I understand why there's labels and boxes and stuff like that. I understand why postman exists and fireman exists, so that I don't call the postman to come up and put the fire out in my house that I've set, or stuff like that. However, I think that's where it should end. And I am going somewhere with this. So I think the reason that the book's written how I speak is because I'm not an author. I don't, look, mate, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of,
love that, though.
I'm just winging it and chucking stuff out. And I mean this so much. If you know, when we got it was the first ever email, direct message, Facebook message. I put my phone number in the book, and I've started getting WhatsApp messages from people that I don't know. And pardon me, I did a little mini burp. I went round with my friends for a roast earlier, which was awesome. It was really good.
Oh, don't! My housemate's cooking one, and it smells so amazing.
You've still got
I'm like up here, like.
So I'm in bed at 9 o'clock normally. So this is like
I appreciate you.
Oh,
I
God,
appreciate
no,
you, Lee.
I didn't mean it like that at all. Yeah. So the reason the book's written like I speak is probably because I don't really know how to write that well. So people have started calling me an author. I'm a Lee. That's all I can do. I'm a Lee.
I love that, though.
I'm trying to level up on other things that I'm bad at, you know. But I think. So the first message we got on email, and then the first DM that we got, and then the first, it's just, honestly, I wrote, when we put it out, I said to Maddie, who helps, I make a massive mess, Maddie cleans it up. Maddie is phenomenal.
I got to speak to Maddie real briefly last week. She sounds lovely. Shout out to Maddie.
Yeah, big shout out to Maddie. She is an absolute, I don't know how she puts up with the amount of crap that I throw at her. And she gets everything done, and she organises it, and she makes everything work. And when we started getting, I said to her when we first put it out, I was like, do you know what? If one person turns around and it's like, oh my God, this has really helped me, that will, I could rest happy. And we've had people that have quit smoking because of the. I'm not even joking. Seriously, in the first couple of months, we've had people that have quit smoking, people that have got out of bad relationships they hated, people that started their own business, people that are losing weight or like, you know, started getting healthy. And mate, I am gassed. Like, I had no idea. I don't know. I can't stress to you enough, Kirsty. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just.
But
chucking.
does that? How do you feel? How does that make you feel? Like that feeling must be like.
Mate, it's if I could, I'm going to try and make a gif of that face that you just did. But yeah, I'm not even going down that route. But there's it may. Look, I'm going to be really, really honest, and this is going to piss some people off, but it's true.
Yeah.
And all I can do is be honest. I feel happy all the time. I choose to feel happy all the time. This makes me elated. This makes me like, just because I know how hard it is. It sucks. Like life. If you make life hard for yourself, it's effing hard. If you 100%. Allow it to, if you allow it to be good, it's good. I've been in some of the worst positions I can think of, and I've forced a smile out and then turned it into something positive. You know, if you don't get me wrong, but it's like one of those things. I always think, you know, and I'm sure I think about it differently if it actually happens. But if I went to prison, I like the idea that might be the place. I mean, not now because I have a wife, but that might be the place that I fall in love with the prison warden, and it gives me time to read a load of books and get really, really fit. You know, there's a positive in everything, and I know that some 100%. People, but it's like, you know, some people are just positive, some people are negative, and I get that as well. But I think you can work on it. I genuinely believe that you can put the time in and you put the effort. These people that are like, oh mate, you're really happy all the time. Because I do. If you ask me how I am, I always say I'm always good, because I am always good.
Yeah, and I love that.
On the odd occasion I'm not good, I still say it because I want to put myself in that, you know, not like some weird Scientology brainwashing thing. I genuinely want to be like Hannah said, Lee, you're blessed to be on this planet with these people, and you're doing anything other than feeling good, you're being a dick. That's the way I see it. That's how harsh I am with myself.
No, I love that though. I do love that because I feel like I can definitely relate, and it's about, rather than looking for everything that's going wrong, looking for the things that you're grateful for. And I am such a believer in happiness is a choice, and that's how I choose to live my life, you know. And a lot of people maybe won't know when I'm going through whatever I'm going through, because that's when I'm going through it. But I choose to be as happy as I can, even when life's throwing curveballs at me, because it's the best way to keep your head above water and to just be happy. Do you know what I mean? But Lee, really quickly, we've literally got about. You've what?
I've had that. Oh,
we've lost you.
Yeah, Hannah said, I've got you. No, I've got you.
Okay, cool. Are we back?
Cool. So
Lee, literally, we've got. Sorry, I was going to say, we've literally got like 3 more minutes. Really quickly, before we go, I want your number 1 top tip. Or no, I'll tell you what, give us one of your favourite life hacks from your book. What is one? Ooh. Just give me one. That is going to help everybody watching right now to sort their shit out and do shit and get shit done.
I'll give you 2.
Yes.
They're really quick. One of them is how I sorted everything out. So everything we were talking about earlier, I use it for accountability, because I think accountability is super important, and just kind of reality checking yourself. So the first one is I'd hold a pen. I'd keep a pen with me. That's all you need. And I would, this is a very, very quick version and quick explanation of this, but because I'm right-handed, holding a pen feels natural in my right hand.
Right.
So whenever I do anything good, and I still do this to this day, whenever I do anything good, I put a little mark on my left hand, because I'm holding my pen in my right hand. It feels good. So it might be like, you know, remember to give your nan a phone call, and I'll put a little tick there or whatever. It might be something really big. Yeah, it's really simple. The thing is, right, if anyone is going to read the book, it's so simple. Like all of the things is super easy to implement, and there's no like, you know, massive crazy science behind it. It's very simple stuff. But yeah, so I do that. If I'm bad and I do something naughty that I shouldn't do, I put the pen in my left hand, which feels awkward and alien, and then I put a cross on my right hand, on you know, with the other hand. So what I end up with ideally is a bunch of crosses on my good hand, which is like I've done good today, and I'm trying to. There's a bunch of I'm giving you a very quick version of this, but there's a bunch of benefits to that. One is it keeps me mindful, and I think to myself, right, okay, if I'm about to do something bad or a bad thing pops in my head, then I've got the opportunity to then go, hold on a sec, I'm gonna get the pen out. I don't want to get the pen out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also humans love like being competitive and playful, and I don't want to end up with my bad hand covered in like loads of dots,
crosses.
so it looks like I've got like some form of leprosy on my thumb or something like that, you know. So I do that's like a little game I play with myself all the time to be mindful. And then the other one, which is really easy to explain, it will take me 2 seconds, but is almost impossible to do. As far, I believe everything's possible pretty much, but so the idea is no negativity.
We've got 48 seconds. Just saying.
I can do this. No negativity for 24 hours. That's it. No
Love
BS,
that.
no calling people out. That's it. That's all it is.
Absolutely love that, Lee. Listen, I wish we had more time. You've been amazing. Really quickly, where can everyone find you? Where can they get the book? You've got 30 seconds. Go.
Oh, God, I hate this. Okay, www.leebridges.co.uk is my website. If you go to Amazon and type in Do Shit, Get Shit Done or Lee Bridges, the book will come up, and you can get it on Kindle for $3.99 or paperback for $9.99. You can also get me on Instagram on @drum_hacker or @_Lee_Bridges. I did that.
You're amazing, guys. This has been Lee Bridges, Real Relevant right now, episode 17. I love you. Do shit, get shit done.